Folks, welcome to an all new episode of So Bad It's Good. This is your pal Ryan, and this is your Tuesday episode. How was your Monday? Was it okay? Mondays are tough, right? Your boy just I'm getting old, man. I just took a nap. I don't even use, I sat down to watch Below Deck, or let me actually be more clear. I laid down to watch Below Deck. I should have known I would have fallen asleep. I should sit up while I'm watching TV. I laid down to watch Below Deck Down Under and totally passed out for 30 minutes. What's going on? I'm not even a nap guy. Anyways, I hope you had a good Monday. We're going to have a great week ahead. We're going to do a little thing we call the Bailey Mail, which is just me reading Daily Mail headlines, a little bit of a pop culture roundup, and then we're going to get to our guest. And we have a first time guest with us today. You might already know him. His name is Ronald Young Jr., and he has two amazing podcasts, even though he's participated in so many other amazing podcasts, including Pop Culture Happy Hour. His name is Ronald Young Jr. He has Wait For It, WEIGHT, Wait For It, which is an amazing show. And then also Pop Culture Debate Club, which is just really funny and dives into this or that in terms of pop culture. Like, one of the episodes I listened to was Seinfeld versus Curb Your Enthusiasm, and he'll have two guests on to debate which one is better. And it's really good. He's fantastic. And the highest compliment I can usually pay any guest was I talked to him, this is a couple weeks ago I talked to him, is that I just wanted to be friends with him. I'm like, oh my God, I wish we lived in the same town. I want to hang out with this dude. Like I want to play. I want to play traders with this guy. I want to play games with it. Like I had such a good time talking to him. So I hope he'll come back on many more times. And I just think this dude was really special. And I think you're going to really enjoy this conversation. We talk about so many things in pop culture, but we really talk a lot about prestige television, which includes The White Lotus, Pitt, Severance. We go back like, the throwback shows like Lost, water cooler shows. I was talking about water cooler shows this weekend on the Patreon, and water cooler shows, that used to be a term that was coined where back in the old days, they assume everybody had a job, and you would go to your job, on Monday, and you would talk about the big show over the weekend or whatever happened the night before around a water cooler. Now, my office, when I used to work at a real job, didn't have a water cooler, so we didn't have those water cooler moments. But there used to, I like to think that most offices did have water coolers, and you would sit around or stand around that water cooler and talk about shows like Lost or a very special episode of ER. And I think people would be talking right now, if there were water coolers and if there were jobs, about shows like White Lotus, Severance, The Pit, Real Housewives of Atlanta, Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. This is why I do this show, right? Because this show, not this show in particular, but these shows that we watch, they kind of do a lot of the heavy lifting in terms of creating relationships with people. You might not have something to talk about with everybody, but I bet you everything that you will find a show that you can argue about or that you can share your love for with somebody else. And I think that's like the thing that I keep coming back to it. And I feel, whereas things are so uncertain in so many ways, but there are so many shows right now that you can sit there and go, well, at least I love this. This has got me thinking, or this has got me angry, or wasn't this a beautiful scene, or didn't I laugh my ass off hearing Kyle Richards try to never talk about Morgan Wade? LOL, I'm joking. Speaking of prestige television, we did the White Lotus recap on Monday's episode with Sophie Ross, but I just want to say it had a huge night in terms of ratings. 6.2 million viewers tuned in to season 3 finale. And this is not even including all the streaming of that show that will be done this week. This is a 30% improvement on the previous series high of 4.8 million viewers, which was set just the week before. So this is the biggest season of The White Lotus yet. The second highest rated episode was last week, and the number one rated episode in 3 seasons of this show was this week. And it's been really interesting. I've enjoyed, not enjoyed, but I've been really entertained listening to everybody's takes or opinions on this show. A lot of people, not a lot, I mean, I would say there's a decent amount of people that don't like it, that it was boring, that it was slow, what a waste. But I'm like, I said this yesterday, not everything's for everybody, but my God, did I love it. So I was so happy to know that it did really good, because that just ensures that that show will continue, and it also ensures that more shows will be made like it. We'll be able to take big swings and have these kind of limited series that potentially turn into multiple season series that like show great performances and takes really big risks with storytelling, right? If you like this show, and why wouldn't you, remember to give it a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Let's get into the Bailey Mail news. Da da da. There needs to be a special sound effect here. The Bailey Mail. Da dun dun. So you guys, this is interesting. Guess who was feuding? I didn't even realize they were feuding, but don't worry, they have now made up. Elton John and Madonna had a decades-long feud that ended over the weekend when Elton John was on Saturday Night Live doing a musical performance with Brandi Carlile. And speaking of that, if you haven't listened to a Brandi Carlile album, do yourself a favor and rectify that immediately. But Elton John and Brandi Carlile have an album out together that just got released on Friday called Who Believes in Angels? And Elton John, his voice has never sounded better. The baritone in his voice is so rich as he has gotten older. I just remember growing up. Do you remember that Diet Coke commercial with Elton John? Diet Coke. He would be on the piano and be like, Diet Coke. Oh, I used to like just sing that as a kid. I was so fixated. Diet Coke. And then I grew up to actually be addicted to Diet Coke. So it wasn't that great. Oh my God. There's the last song of this album with Elton John and Brandi Carlile. It's called When This Old World Is Done With Me. And my God, you guys, this is a tearjerker. If you want to then explore a little bit more about Brandi Carlile, I highly recommend her 2007 album, The Story, and also her 2020 album, In These Silent Days, which is a very listenable to album. Now, the feud with Elton John and Madonna. So Madonna on her old IG, she posted a photo of Elton John and herself at Saturday Night Live. And she said, up and watching him on stage. No, sorry. She wrote, we finally buried the hatchet. And she used 4 exclamation points. I went to see Elton John perform on SNL this weekend. Wow. I remembered when I was in high school. I snuck out of the house one night to see Elton perform live in Detroit. It was an unforgettable performance that helped me understand the transformative power of music. Seeing him perform when I was in high school changed the course of my life. I had always felt like an outsider growing up, and watching him on stage helped me to understand that it was okay to be different, to stand out, to take the road less traveled by. In fact, it was essential. Over the decades, it hurt me to know that someone I admired so much shared his dislike of me publicly as an artist. I didn't understand it. I was told Elton John was the musical guest on SNL, and I decided to go. I needed to go backstage and confront him. See, this is what it is, folks. No matter even if you are a millionaire superstar, you're still going to get confronted by Madonna. Or you're going to, you know what I'm saying? Like, life is not easy for any of us. But he goes, I had to confront him. When I met him, the first thing out of his mouth was, Diet Coke. No, he said, forgive me. And the walls between us fell down. Forgiveness is a powerful tool. Within minutes, we were hugging. Then he told me he had written a song for me and he wanted to collaborate. It was like everything came full circle, and you can tell everybody this is your song, she finished. Obviously based on your song, the beautiful Elton John classic. You can tell everybody this is your song. By the way, Andy Cohen has the first comment underneath his Instagram post, and it said, see, I'm not the only troublemaking queen, because Andy Cohen showed up at Madonna's concert a couple of years ago, and he was in the front row, and Madonna called Andy Cohen out on stage and was like, you're a you're a troublesome queen or something, and made fun of Andy Cohen. And Andy was like, what did I do? Anyways, you might be wondering, what did Elton John say about Madonna? And so, I'm reading from a Page 6 story, was that I guess the riff began more than 20 years ago when Elton John slammed Madonna's Die Another Day song, which was the James Bond song, labeling it the worst Bond tune ever. James Bond movies have that iconic track, whether it's Adele, Billie Eilish. Through the years, so many amazing artists have contributed that one amazing James Bond track. But then the feud intensified in 2004 at the British Q Awards when John won the Classic Songwriter Award and Madonna was nominated for Best Live Act. As he accepted his award, the Rocketman singer groused from the stage, "Madonna, Best Live Act? Fuck off. Since when has lip syncing been live? Sorry about that, but I think everybody who lip syncs on stage in public when you pay like 75 quid to see them should be shot. Thank you very much. That's me off her Christmas card list. But do I give a toss? No. Do I give a toss? No." Madonna's publicist responded, "Madonna does not lip sync, nor does she spend her time trashing other artists. Elton John remains on her Christmas card list, whether he is nice or naughty." Elton John later walked back his comments, sharing that Madonna had been to his home for dinner and it was something I said in the heat of the moment and probably should not have said. Now, Elton John's husband, David Furnish, I guess kind of stoked these flames when he badmouthed Madonna in 2012 after she won Golden Globe for Best Original Song over Elton John at that ceremony. David said, "Madonna winning Best Original Song truly shows how these awards have nothing to do with merit," he wrote on Facebook. "Her acceptance speech was embarrassing in its narcissism." Elton John had previously predicted that Madonna had no fucking chance of winning against his track "Hello, Hello" for the animated film Romeo and Juliet. Oh my God, I remember Romeo and Juliet, the historical cartoon. Madonna politely responded, "Elton has been known to get mad at me, so I don't know. He's brilliant and I adore him, so he'll win another award. I don't feel bad." And then during an Australian interview, Elton John, who is good friends with Lady Gaga, defended her against Madonna, saying, "Madonna is such a nightmare," the Oscar winner sniped. "Sorry her career is over. Her tour has been a disaster, and it couldn't happen to be a bigger CUNT, the see you next Tuesday word. She's been so horrible to Gaga," he continued. "If Madonna had any common sense, she'd have made a record like Ray of Light," which actually is a brilliant Madonna album, "stayed away from the dance stuff and just been a great pop singer and make great pop records," which she does brilliantly. But no, she has to prove that she was like, and she looks like a fucking fairground stripper, he viciously added. Because Madonna kind of like, she kind of sniped at Lady Gaga. This is why it's not like great to like trash people unless you're me doing a pop culture podcast, because that shit comes back to haunt you in so many ways. But the good news, this is just an overall good heart-filled story because they've now made up. Saturday Night Live, they've made up through the power of Lorne Michaels and Saturday Night Live. Woo! What a story, man. Okay, let's go back to reality TV for just a second. Now, Erica Jane from Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, on the first part of the Beverly Hills reunion, Andy congratulated her for her song being used in the Oscar-winning film Anora from this year, right? But it turns out that wasn't Erica Jane's song. She was just featured on the song. Now, an underground artist named Brooke Candy actually wrote that song, and she thought it would be awesome to have a Real Housewives star on that track, right? And this Brooke Candy, she's had like a decade-plus career in the LA music scene. She's collaborated with Charlie XCX, Lizzo, Grimes, Sia, Azalea Banks, and her album 2019 is called Sexorcism. That probably will be the name of my album if I ever do release one. But she asked Erica Jane to do the vocal on the chorus of the song Drip, right? And her album that this song is featured on also has Charlie XCX and Azalea Banks. So Erica Jane did it, and she hammered out the deal for Drip to appear in the indie movie. Brooke Candy did, not Erica Jane. And then Erica Jane, when she's been asked about it on Watch What Happens Live or in the press or even on the reunion, she has like said, she's not mentioned that it's not her song, right? In fact, she actually invited a group of people at an AMC theater. She hosted a screening for the movie at AMC at the Grove in LA. And Candy told Page Six that she was stunned to later discover that Erica Jane had fronted this event without telling her it was happening, and she didn't even invite her. And she also told her social media followers that the occasion was to celebrate my song, Drip. The rapper claims that it was only after she texted Erica Jane about the oversight that the reality star amended her post to say that it was to celebrate the song Drip with myself and at Brooke Candy. Making matters worse, Candy feels that Jane whiffed on a chance to set things right. She thought on the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills reunion, when she was asked about it, she would mention that she was featured on the song and that it wasn't her song. Now, this might sound petty, right? But at the same time, imagine you're an underground artist, you have a song in a movie, and you are looking. Do you know how hard it is to have a career in the arts? You are looking for any kind of publicity. I mean, even with this silly little podcast, like you look every day for somebody to shout you out. And I don't mean this in a boastful way, but like you look for people to say, "Oh, listen to this. Check this out. Oh, you might like this." That's how word of mouth works. And then for somebody to take full credit when it is not your song to begin with, that is a it seems like a classic Erica Jane move to potentially take from other people, but that's just my opinion. Anyways, I thought that was an interesting little tidbit. And also, by the way, have you noticed Lisa Rinna has been upping her PR lately? She's been I've seen her in a lot more places. She has the podcast with her husband Harry, and they've been selling Harry's Bolognese, his delicious pasta sauce. But I have a prediction that Lisa Rinna is going to be on next season of The Traitors. I think I have a weird feeling that she is going to be on next season of The Traitors. So mark it here and let's check back in a couple months and see if I'm right. Also, I do know one person who has been offered a spot on The Traitors, but I will not be telling you that at this time. I'm going to make you tune in day after day before I reveal my news. Okay, now let's talk about what to watch this week. I know it's Tuesday. You're like, the week's almost done, but no, not in terms of TV and what we have to watch. We've got a lot to watch the rest of the week. Now, it starts off tonight. We have the second part of the three-part Real Housewives of Beverly Hills reunion. Kathy Hilton's going to come out. We're going to probably see Garcelle get angrier and angrier because we know that this is the reunion that makes her leave the show. So we have that on tonight, right? Okay, so what else we have tonight? We also have episode 8 of Denise Richards and Her Wild Things, which is right after Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Now, over on Netflix, we have My Next Guest Needs No Introduction with David Letterman. This is its mid-season premiere. I'm a huge fan of David Letterman, have been my whole life. And these are extended interviews. I mean, like you used to watch him on The Late Show, and he was so brilliant at the 12-minute interview. And these are extended interviews. He's been doing these for years and years, and I highly recommend catching up on them on Netflix because there have just been so many great interviews through the years through his partnership with Netflix. So that premieres, and also Handmaid's Tale Season 6 premieres on Hulu. And this is going to be the final season of The Handmaid's Tale. And then I guess it's not going to be the final season because we might just be, doing future seasons actually here in America right now. Now, Wednesday, we've got a huge night of television. Are you watching The Studio on Apple TV Plus? I keep recommending it. Seth Rogen, I think it's brilliant. Each episode is just so weirdly delicious, and I can't believe I just said delicious. Douche chills are running up and down my spine, but I love it. It's called The Studio. Catch up. It'll be the 4th episode. Over on Netflix, we've got the documentary Bad Influence, The Dark Side of Kid-fluencing. Not influencing, kid-fluencing, and I cannot wait to check that out. You have a new episode of Masked Singer. You have season 48, episode 7 of Survivor. I am loving this season of Survivor. You got the Challenge All-Stars over on MTV. Over on Bravo, we have the Summer House. Let's see how Jesse Solomon gets out of trouble this week. You got Abbott Elementary on. You've got The Amazing Race. Now on Thursday, oh God, guess what comes back? I talked about this on Monday, but Black Mirror Season 7 premieres. Black Mirror is another show that you should just catch up on all episodes, but I cannot wait to watch this season of Black Mirror. I made the mistake with Love on the Spectrum and I binged it all in one day. I've got to parse out these episodes because each episode is like a movie. I just got to give myself one a week and just kind of spread it out, which by the way, there's been a lot of talk lately of we want to go back to a television format where it is once a week so you can get excited like we did with Severance, White Lotus, The Pitt, instead of just having it all at once where you binge it and then you forget about it in a week or two. And then over on Max, we got the season 4 premiere of Hacks. Hacks is another really hysterical comedy. It's won so many awards. Jean Smart, what a brilliant actress. But that premieres over on HBO. Then you have a new episode of Top Chef over on Bravo. That's going to be amazing. Now on Friday over on Apple TV Plus. Apple TV Plus is putting out some bangers lately. You have Your Friends and Neighbors, the new John Hamm from Mad Men, a new television series that's getting amazing word of mouth right now. So I'm really curious to see how that turns out. But I think I'm going to give that one a shot. You also have a new episode of Shark Tank. My God, there was like a period of my life, a couple of years, where I got really into Shark Tank. And I was just like, oh my God, sharks, my name is Ryan Bailey, and I'm here to sell you So Bad It's Good. I am offering 3%, and all I need from you, Lori, and from you, Kevin, is $50 million. Now, over the weekend, guess what? We got the second season of The Last of Us, the Pedro Pascal led drama series. I love series about zombies. I see myself in them. But we have the second season premiering on Sunday. That's going to be amazing. Oh, and I forgot, of course, on Thursday night, you have the season finale of The Pit, the Noah Wiley-led show on Max. It's already got a second season pickup, and they are already hard at work on that second season, from my understanding. I am up to like episode 8 now. I don't think I'll be able to catch up in time, but that's okay. But I'm really enjoying this series. Not as much as I did White Lotus and Severance, but it is really damn good. So I do recommend The Pit as well if you're looking for a new show to binge. And then finally, I want to leave you with an interesting story that I read today, talking about the White Lotus finale. Do not worry, this is not a spoiler, because this actually didn't end up making the final cut. I did a whole episode about the making of White Lotus Season 3 over on Patreon, and Mike White talked about how each one of his edits were like over an hour and a half, and they would have to whittle 30 minutes out of each episode. Now, on the Season 3 finale, there was an unexpected sex scene between Sarah Catherine Hook and Nicholas DeVernay's character. So Sarah played Piper Ratliff, the daughter who was wanting to go to the monastery for a year, and Zion, who was Belinda's son. There was a sex scene between them in the final episode. They were supposed to hook up, even though the viewers never saw them cross paths at the Thailand resort. Mike White says that part was cut, which is very disappointing, is that she decides to lose her virginity in the script in the last episode, and she actually has sex with Zion, which is Belinda's son. And now this comes from the official White Lotus podcast. Mike White said this. He said, there's a whole scene where she's like, it's true, I need to get this over with. He explained that Piper had an epiphany that she needed to have sex after spending the night in the Buddhist monastery. However, the scene would have added an additional 10 minutes to the action-packed season finale, plus the romantic rom-com vibe didn't match the overall darker tone of the episode. And Mike White said, I was just trying to do too much narratively. And Mike White said the sex scene in question would have come as Piper's dad, Tom Ratliff, was plotting to kill most of his family with pina coladas spiked with poisonous scenes. So they shot this whole thing and it didn't even make the fight. There's like 30 minutes of each one of these episodes that we will never get to see. That would have blown me away. But I love, like, I don't know, I just love the artistry of anything, and just like how many creative decisions have to be made, and how many, like they always say, you have to kill your darling sometimes, and you have to, like, a lot of good ideas end up hitting the cutting room floor. Also, Ben Stiller, one of the creators of Severance, and also, you know, we grew up with Ben Stiller as an actor and now a director, but he tweeted last night, he said, no one does what Mike White does. He's a genre to himself. Beautiful and disturbing, satisfying and emotional finale. Hashtag The White Lotus. So Ben Stiller giving his compatriot Mike White, the creator of White Lotus, a lot of love, which I love. I love to see artisans congratulating each other. So that made me smile. Anyways, you guys, let's get to our guest, Ronald Young Jr. I'm telling you, even if you don't know this dude, please hang around for this conversation. I have never talked to this dude before, and by the end, I just wanted to keep talking to him. And that's a compliment to him and how good of a podcaster he is. And he seems like a pretty damn good person. I think you're going to love this conversation. Come back on Wednesday. We're going to talk a lot of other stuff, including Diddy and the new Netflix reality competition series Million Dollar Secret, which final 2 episodes hits this Wednesday on Netflix as well. That's what to watch this week. And we'll talk about a bunch of other things, okay? Have a great Tuesday. Bye, guys.